Welcome to this short tutorial. Today, we'll explore how families and entities are structured in Finticx and why they matter. At the highest level, we have families, representing a wealth-owning group, typically a high-net-worth family. Within each family, you define entities, which follow a flat structure rather than a complex consolidation hierarchy. Think of entities as asset tags within a family. They can include legal entities, special wealth vehicles, or natural persons, such as the paterfamilias or children. Why is this important? This structure allows you to track key financial metrics, such as net asset value, liabilities, investments, and cash flows, at both the family and entity level. When distinguishing between an entity and a participation, it is important to consider how they are reported. An entity requires detailed reporting on each wealth component it holds. This means that all assets, liabilities, and financial activities within the entity are tracked individually. A participation, on the other hand, is recorded as a single asset within another entity. Unlike entities, participations do not provide a look-through into their underlying wealth components, meaning their internal structure and individual assets are not separately reported. You can define entity ownership per entity and per period. Start by selecting the family the entity belongs to. Here in this example it is Smith family, then the entity, here Smith Real Estate, and set the ownership percentage, which will be effective from a date of your choice. Should entity ownership change, simply define a new ownership percentage and set a new from period. If you choose not to define entity ownership, it will default to 100%, and the ownership percentage will remain fixed at the value from the last from period. Let's see how this looks in Finticx. When setting up a new family in Finticx, start by entering the family's name. Each newly created family is automatically assigned a unique family key and family ID for identification. For the GL account assignment, select Yes if you want to map a specific entity ID, asset ID, and transaction type to a general ledger GL account for reconciliation with your accounting system. Be aware that if GL account mapping is enabled, mapping records must be provided to avoid erroneous transaction records. Next, choose the family's base currency. Any transaction or valuation amounts in other currencies will automatically be converted to the family's base currency using ECB exchange rates. This allows you to report in different currencies, such as the base currency, asset currency, or instrument currency. For the forecast roll into actual ACT option, select Yes if you want forecasts for future transactions to be updated to actual numbers as soon as the reporting period changes from forecast to actual. The report opening period defines the starting month and year for reporting in Finticx. Historical returns, history to date, are calculated from this period. Wealth components that were owned before the opening period must be recorded using the opening balance transaction type, while wealth components acquired during or after the opening period must be entered using a buy or contribution transaction type. The report closing period sets the cutoff point for actual transactions. Transactions with a period on or before the report closing period are considered actual, while transactions with a period after the report closing period are considered forecast. Automatically generated forecast records will also follow this rule. Let's look at how to add an entity and define the ownership. Make sure that in the top right corner, the correct family is selected. Once the family is created, you can add an entity by selecting the appropriate family from the drop-down menu and entering the entity's name. Select the family associated with the entity to be allocated, then select the entity. Define the ownership percentage and use decimals from 0 to 1. Select then the month and year as of when the allocation applies. Thank you for watching this video on family, entity, and entity ownership. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us.